Jim has a vibrant personality. He is one who is full of intellect, full of curiosity, yet very both serious, caring, and lighthearted, all wrapped into one.
I saw another side of Jim. Jim was, as a man of faith, actually a very humble guy, and a very other concerned sort of guy. He had a heart for other people.
He was incredibly engaged in so many different aspects of life. He was athletic. He was a runner. He played soccer. He played golf, and at the same time, he was a world-class trial attorney.
It's always interesting when you go out and you're sitting with a client, and a client knows Jim as this top trial lawyer that they've hired. And again, his reputation, he'd won numerous awards and was listed as one of the top product liability lawyers in the United States. And you would have a client that had known him for 2 years and had no idea of his background. And, especially for myself, if I wanted to amuse myself and watch the shock hit the client's face, you would just roll out some of these things. Top Gun pilot, lead singer in a band, best-selling novelist. The list was quite long.
Yeah, he's got Balance of Power, The Price of Power, which was, I think that was the first one to hit the New York Times best-selling list. The most important one is Marine One, because it's dedicated to me. So that's my favorite. Falcon 7, I think was his last one. Fallout, that one's about, he would come up with these ideas very naturally, just, discovering interesting things.
I think one of Jim's legacies is that he inspired people around him to be better than they were. I think that was a huge part of his legacy. And you look at another enduring, probably what he would say is one of his greatest legacies is his family.
You sit there in trial with Jim. This was one of my first trials, and in between witnesses, Jim would lean over and, there would be some quiz question. What day did the Civil War end? What day was Abraham Lincoln shot? What year did Martin Luther nail the 99 Theses to the door? You had to be quick, and you had to be ready. And luckily for me, I enjoyed this, and so you could, as long as you gave the answer, and then the smile would come, and back you would go, and off to do the next witness.
I remember early on, it was, I want to live long enough to see his daughter married, his first daughter married, Stephanie. And that happened, and then Jim actually, of course, saw all but one of his kids get married, and even saw his grandchildren.
He would fight a case and try a case like it was the end of the world, but he always knew it wasn't. And I think his love of history really helped put things in perspective too, because he had a couple of sayings that have stuck with me. But one of them was, people would say, "What is the world coming to?" And he would say, "Nothing. It's always been this way. This is the world, right? There's a lot of good in it and a lot of evil in it, and it's kind of what you make of it and what you do. You can't control the world, but you can control yourself, and you can control your response to the circumstances that are put in front of you.
Yeah.
How does it feel to know that Jim is being honored by the legal community in this way?
I think it's fantastic that Jim is being honored. I think that honestly, there is no other person that I can think that exemplifies really what the Distinguished Lawyer Memorial reflects than Jim.
I'm delighted that Jim is receiving this award. Jim loved the practice of law. If there was anything else that he liked to talk about besides faith issues, which he loved to talk about, he loved talking about the practice of law and the work he was doing for his clients. And I found Jim to be inspiring. In fact, I wished he'd been one of my partners when I was practicing law, because his enthusiasm for the practice, and he was, of course, a trial lawyer, his enthusiasm was infectious.
It's surprising, but in a way, because there are so many good lawyers in San Diego. But it's also not surprising if you've ever seen my dad, or watched him in action, seen his writing. He was just a phenom. So it's a wonderful, wonderful honor. But from the lawyers I've met, I don't know anybody who deserves it more.